NHL night opens with a clash soaked in urgency as the Carolina Hurricanes storm their way into KeyBank Center for a meeting with a Buffalo Sabres squad still trying to steady its footing in the dense Atlantic Division race. Carolina arrives carrying the swagger of a division leader, standing at the 2nd of May 14 overall and an impressive 8-3-1 on the road. Buffalo counters with a more turbulent rhythm at 8-9-4 overall, though their 7-4-2 home mark gives them a familiar edge inside this building. 30 points keep Carolina perched above New Jersey and the Islanders in the Metropolitan, while Buffalo fights off the pressure coming from Detroit, Boston, and Tampa Bay above them. The Sabres still remember the first meeting. Carolina walked out with a 6-3 win. Tonight becomes the moment Buffalo either answers that punch or falls further behind in the tightening standings. As the puck drops, the stars that define each team take center stage. Sebastian Aho continues to carry Carolina's offensive compass, pacing at exactly a point per game with 21 in 21 outings. His 57 shots, his 14% shooting efficiency, the seamless blend of creativity and pace, everything funnels through his stick. Then comes Seth Jarvis, the edge in this Hurricanes attack, sitting at 11 goals and 4 of them game winners. Jarvis doesn't just shoot, he punctures defensive shells with timing and instinct. Buffalo responds with their own heartbeat in Tage Thompson, sitting at 20 points with 11 goals and 9 assists, the engine behind every power play weave and every transition burst. Alex Tuch matches him with 20 points, while Rasmus Dahlin holds down the blue line with 15 assists and his usual fluid command of the ice. Carolina is built on structure, and that foundation sits firmly in the hands of Alexander Nikishin, a plus 4, lane closing, exit driving force, and the unwavering steadiness of Jacob Slavin. Add Shane Gostisbehere's offensive spark from the point, and the Hurricanes shape a blue line that compresses time and space. Buffalo leans on Dahlin's elite transition and the rugged presence of Mattias Samuelsson, who leads the team in plus-minus at plus 7. Where the gap begins to widen is in net. Carolina's trio of Frederik Andersen, Pyotr Kochetkov, and Spencer Bussey posts a combined 2.86 goals against average and 8.904 save percentage. Anderson's 5-4-2 record comes with a 3.07 GAA and .883 save rate, while Bussey steadies things with a .896 save percentage. Buffalo's situation is more chaotic. Alex Lyon's 3-5-3 record and matching 3.07 GAA are competitive, but the Sabres have allowed far more goals, 74 to Carolina's 60, and face heavier extended zone pressure. UPL and Colton Ellis sit in the high 880s save range, leaving Buffalo vulnerable when possession tilts away from them. The team dynamics paint the clearest picture. Carolina scores 3.62 goals per game and allows just 2.86, a tidy, confident differential. Buffalo scores 3.14 but allows 3.52, a dangerous imbalance when facing a team that thrives on layered structure. The Hurricanes' 88% penalty kill hasn't allowed a shorthanded goal all season, and though Buffalo's PK sits slightly higher at 88.5%, their breakdowns at even strength inflate their goals against totals. Carolina's power play percentage at 13.6% trails Buffalo's 17.5%, but the Hurricanes execute with more precision in their setup, puck movement, and retrieval. Momentum leans slightly toward the Hurricanes, who have gone 3-2 in their last 5 with quality wins over Boston and overtime grit against Winnipeg and Vancouver. Their losses against Minnesota in a shootout and Edmonton in a tight 4-3 battle came down to inches rather than breakdowns. Buffalo's recent stretch feels more volatile, 2-3 with both massive highs and severe dips. A 9-3 demolition of Chicago and a poised 5-1 win over Edmonton were followed by a 6-2 collapse against Calgary, a scrappy 5-4 OT escape in Detroit, and a 6-3 unraveling against Colorado. The flashes of brilliance remain undeniable, but so does the inconsistency. They surge, then stall, then surge again, making them dangerous but unpredictable. In net, Anderson's poise contrasts sharply with Lyon's athletic but chaotic workload. Anderson benefits from structure. Lyon often fights through waves of pressure and scrambled coverages. If Carolina sustains its forecheck and forces Buffalo into extended defensive shifts, the balance could tip sharply toward the Hurricanes. All signs point in one direction. The first pick here is Carolina Hurricanes to win. Their consistency, defensive discipline, and the off-puck intelligence of players like Jarvis create the separation. Buffalo will generate offense. Thompson and Touch always do, but Carolina's depth and special teams hold the advantage. This matchup has the pace to open up, and with both teams' offensive talent, the total leans upward. The second pick is over 5.5. The scene shifts to Long Island, where the Seattle Kraken roll in with a 5th of May 11 record and 27 points, sitting second in the Pacific and chasing Anaheim for the top spot. The Islanders stand close behind at the 2nd of August 12 with 26 points in the Metropolitan, where every night feels like a fight for survival. Two teams separated by a single point meet in a cross-conference battle that feels like a small season referendum. Seattle searching for validation, the Islanders searching for separation. The urgency is electric. Seattle's scoring balance continues to drive its identity. Jaden Schwartz leads the group with 15 points on 8 goals and 7 assists, anchoring the forward core with efficiency and situational awareness. Matty Beniers feeds the machine with 11 assists as the transition engine. On the back end, Vince Dunn and Brandon Montour maintain control of pace and possession through responsible two-way play. New York comes in heavier with star power. Bo Horvat's 25 points, 14 goals, 11 assists, and a +13, place him among the league's premier performers this season. Kyle Palmieri adds 16 points, Matthew Barzal 15, and depth scoring flows across nearly every line. Defensively, Ryan Pulock carries big minutes while Scott Mayfield brings bite and edge with 47 penalty minutes. Stylistically, these teams diverge. New York scores 3.29 goals per game but allows 2.95. Seattle scores fewer at 2.70 but allows the same 2.70, a portrait of structure versus firepower. The Islanders push pace with nearly 600 shots on the year, significantly more than Seattle's 491. Seattle's penalty kill and discipline remain strengths, while New York's pressure-heavy approach sometimes pulls them out of position. Recent form sharpens the tension. Seattle has won 4 of its last 5, including a gritty 3-2 OT win over Pittsburgh and a clean 4-1 takedown of San Jose. Their lone loss, a tight 4-2 defeat to Detroit, didn't derail their rhythm. New York sits at 3-2 in its last 5, swinging between dominant performances like a 5-0 shutout over Detroit and flat efforts such as losses to St. Louis and Colorado. Wins over Dallas and Utah show their ability to close tight games. Goaltending becomes the subplot. Joey Dacord's 7-3-3 record, 2.78 GAA, and .900 save percentage gives Seattle reliability and structure. His calm reads settle the group. Grubauer supplements him well with a .913 save percentage in limited action. New York's Ilya Sorokin counters with elite ability, .905 save percentage, 2.71 GAA, 422 shots faced, but also carries a massive workload. Behind him, David Rittich provides depth, but the crease belongs to Sorokin. After considering all the layers, the first pick here lands on the New York Islanders to win. Their scoring ceiling is higher, and Horvat's line can flip momentum instantly. Yet this game carries the imprint of a defensive grind, and the second pick once again leans to over 5.5, given New York's offensive burst potential and Seattle's recent ability to generate chances consistently. The final stop of the night brings the Boston Bruins into the SAP Center to meet a San Jose Sharks team riding the edge between inconsistency and breakthrough. Boston enters at 1-3-1-0-0, second in the Atlantic with 26 points, while San Jose stands at the 3rd of August 10, 5th in the Pacific but close enough to leap into higher contention with a single run. Boston's 5-6-0 road record signals struggle away from home, while San Jose's 6-3-3 mark inside their building shows confidence rooted in atmosphere. Boston's attack is headlined by David Pastrnak, who continues to showcase one of the league's most lethal offensive arsenals with 28 points, 11 goals, and 17 assists. Morgan Geekie's 16 goals add vital finishing strength, giving Boston a dual-threat presence that can take over stretches of play. Charlie McAvoy's 11 points from the blue line maintain the Bruins' signature first-pass precision, while Nikita Zadorov's physicality and +4 rating give them an edge in defensive confrontations. San Jose counters with the rising brilliance of Macklin Celebrini, who sits at 31 points in 21 games, 13 goals, 18 assists, and is already becoming the fulcrum of the franchise. Will Smith's 15 points and Dmitry Orlov's 12 from the blue line add layers to San Jose's transition game and attacking depth. Vincent Desharnais provides defensive edge with the team lead at 20 penalty minutes. Boston holds advantages statistically. The Bruins average 3.17 goals per game and boast a lethal 28.7% power play. Their penalty kill stands strong at 83%. San Jose averages 2.95 goals, runs at an 18.1% power play efficiency, and carries a 79.4% penalty kill. Boston generates more shots, but also takes more penalties, something San Jose's pace could exploit if the game tilts downhill. Recent rhythms show Boston going 2-3 in its last 5, competitive in every game but failing to consistently secure control. San Jose's 3-2 mark carries dramatic flair, winning tight games in overtime and losing heavily when they miss their structure. Yet in late-game moments, they have shown poise beyond their years. Goaltending shapes the prediction clearly. Jeremy Swayman's 9-5-0 record, 2.84 GAA, and .907 save percentage bring consistency and calm to Boston. Yaroslav Askarov, 7-5-1 with a 2.97 GAA and .898 save percentage, has been strong for San Jose but not quite at Swayman's level. Alex Nedeljkovic backs him, but the difference in net favors Boston. All signs point to Boston Bruins as the pick to win. Their special teams, top-end scoring, and Swayman's steadiness create the edge. This matchup carries a tight, tactical tone, but one moment from Pastrnak or a key power play sequence could be enough to break it open. Next, the night air carries a tangible tension as the Minnesota Wild and Winnipeg Jets collide in a Central Division clash that already feels like a defining moment of the early season. Minnesota arrives at the 4th of July 11 with 26 points, occupying third in the division, while Winnipeg sits just behind at 1-2-8-0, holding 24 points and chasing ground in a race that is still tightly packed. Colorado and Dallas may be setting the early pace, but this matchup has the feel of a tone-setter, one of those November contests whose results will echo months down the line when playoff math begins to tighten and every single point becomes crucial. Momentum currently tilts slightly toward Minnesota, winners in 4 of their last 5 games, including a commanding 5-0 shutout over Pittsburgh just 2 nights ago. Winnipeg, by contrast, is attempting to regain its edge following a tough 4-3 loss to Carolina, a game that exposed both defensive lapses and the urgency to find rhythm. Both teams are in search of identity, hunting for the kind of win that can establish their place in this divisional fight and broadcast to the league where they truly belong. Minnesota's story begins with Kirill Kaprizov, the offensive engine whose 26 points, 12 goals, and 14 assists make him the heartbeat of their attack. Matt Boldy has rediscovered his scoring touch, contributing 13 goals and creating havoc on the power play, while Marcus Johansson adds 18 points and the team's best plus-minus at +8, completing a 3-tiered offensive core that is starting to hum. Defensively, the Wild lean on Jake Middleton, a non-nonsense presence with 26 penalty minutes and heavy ice time, complemented by Brock Faber's assertive shifts and physicality. Goaltending has been a tale of two paths for Minnesota. Philip Grubauer carries a 6.72 record with a 2.79 goals against average and a 0.902 save percentage, while Jesper Wallstedt has been sharper in limited action, posting a 2.20 GAA and 0.926 save percentage through 7 starts, offering Minnesota a potential X-factor should fresh legs be needed. Winnipeg counters with star power of its own. Mark Scheifele is skating at an MVP-caliber pace with 28 points, 11 goals, and 17 assists through 20 games, all while driving play on both special teams. Kyle Connor adds 21 points with his signature shot, and Josh Morrissey continues to assert himself as an elite two-way force with 22 points and a +9 rating, the best mark among either roster. Supporting contributors like Gabriel Velarde, Nikolai Ehlers, and Logan Stanley ensure depth, while the blue line leans heavily on Morrissey and Dylan DeMello to stabilize tempo and facilitate transition. Between the pipes, Connor Hellebuyck remains Winnipeg's anchor at 8.60, posting a 2.51 GAA and 0.913 save percentage, numbers that might even be stronger if not for a few defensive lapses in front of him. Eric Comrie has supplemented with a competitive 2.84 GAA in 6 games, but the crease truly belongs to Hellebuyck, whose command and composure frustrate even the highest volume shooters. Team metrics paint a fascinating contrast. Minnesota averages 2.86 goals per game while allowing 2.91, showing balance but occasional vulnerability. Winnipeg pushes a higher offensive pace at 3.30 goals per game while giving up 2.80. Power plays are almost dead even. Minnesota at 25.9% and Winnipeg at 25.4%, but Minnesota's penalty kill holds opponents to 74.0% while Winnipeg sits at 83.6%, a notable edge that could become pivotal in tight moments. The core matchup lies in Minnesota's structured attack, patient cycles, and layered entries, led by Kaprizov's surgical precision, versus Winnipeg's opportunistic speed game, orchestrated by Scheifele's poise and Morrissey's quarterbacking on the blue line. One team thrives on rhythm and patience, the other on bursts of explosive offense. Recent form sharpens the stakes. Minnesota is 4-1-0 over its last 5, outscoring opponents 14-6 and posting 2 overtime wins that build late-game confidence. Their lone loss, a narrow 2-1 overtime defeat against San Jose, highlighted minor mistakes that the team has since corrected. Winnipeg's last 5 have been more volatile, a 3-2-0 stretch marked by impressive wins over Columbus and Vancouver, but also setbacks against Carolina and a blown lead in Seattle. When they are on, the Jets' speed overwhelms opponents, but defensive lapses leave Hellebuyck as the last line far too often. Momentum favors Minnesota, but urgency favors Winnipeg, setting the stage for a high-stakes duel. Between Grubauer and Hellebuyck, Grubauer's style is controlled, subtle, and efficient, suggesting a potential breakout stretch, while Hellebuyck thrives on reactive, explosive saves capable of swinging entire periods. Minnesota's growing chemistry among Kaprizov, Boldy, and Johansson may stress Winnipeg's crease in ways that test even a veteran netminder. After weighing both sides, the pick leans toward the Minnesota Wild to edge out a tight, high-intensity battle. Wallstedt lurking as a potential starter gives Minnesota flexibility, while special teams execution, puck management, and balanced scoring create the difference in a fast, emotional division matchup. The total over 5.5 is a logical complement, given the offensive firepower and the tempo both teams bring. In Chicago, the Avalanche visit the United Center for a clash with the Blackhawks, a game that juxtaposes Colorado's dominance with Chicago's credibility. Colorado comes in at the 5th of January 14, leading the Central Division with 33 points, riding the momentum of a team already showing playoff-ready form. Chicago counters at the 4th of July 10 with 24 points, still searching for consistency but demonstrating flashes of competitive depth when their young core clicks. Nathan MacKinnon leads Colorado with another MVP-level campaign, posting 36 points, 16 goals, and 20 assists through 20 games. Cale Makar adds 28 points from the blue line, while Arturi Lekkonen, Victor Arvidsson, and Valeri Nichushkin anchor a supporting cast that scores in waves, averaging 4.20 goals per game with 33.8 shots per night. The Avalanche's defense emphasizes smart structure and controlled puck possession, with Josh Manson providing physicality alongside MacKinnon's offensive +22, tilting the ice in Colorado's favor. Chicago leans heavily on Connor Bedard, who commands 31 points through 21 games with 13 goals and 18 assists, controlling tempo and possession like few players in the league. Tyler Bertuzzi, Teuvo Teravainen, and Frank Nazar provide secondary scoring, capable of bursts that keep the Blackhawks competitive. Special teams show contrast. Colorado sits at 16.7% on the power play and 85.9% on the kill, while Chicago operates at 25% on the man advantage and 82.7% on the kill, giving both sides avenues to swing momentum. Recent form magnifies the difference. Colorado's last 5 games produced 30 goals in total, a combination of depth scoring and relentless puck possession, while Chicago's stretch alternated between offensive surges and defensive lapses, forcing Bedard to carry the weight. In goal, Colorado's Scott Wedgwood is calm, technically sound, and consistent at 12 wins with a 2.23 GAA and 0.930 save percentage, while Spencer Knight for Chicago offers athleticism and acrobatic saves, but often absorbs defensive breakdowns that magnify risk. The pick here leans to Colorado, whose offensive depth, disciplined structure, and veteran execution create the edge in a matchup of speed, skill, and tactical nuance. Total over 5.5 aligns with the offensive firepower both teams bring. Finally, Calgary visits Vancouver, a Pacific Division battle heavy with stakes and narrative. Vancouver sits at 9-1-1-2 with 20 points, precariously on the early playoff edge, while Calgary struggles at 6-1-3-3 with 15 points, fighting to climb out of the bottom of the division. Vancouver won the first meeting 5-1, asserting early dominance, but Calgary is determined to respond, relying on defensive structure and selective scoring. Vancouver's Elias Pettersson leads the attack with 20 points, 13 assists, and a central role in every Russian breakout, complemented by Caden Sherwood's 12 goals and Quinn Hughes' 19 assists while logging 27 minutes per night. Brock Besser and Connor Garland provide supporting offensive depth. Calgary's Nazem Kadri and Matt Coronado provide scoring sparks, while Rasmus Andersson, Joel Farabee, and Kevin Ball stabilize the defensive core. Team metrics show Vancouver's 3.05 goals per game against Calgary's 2.27, and Vancouver allows 3.68 versus Calgary's 3.05. Vancouver's power play at 17% contrasts with Calgary's 9%, while Calgary's penalty kill at 79.5% exceeds Vancouver's 68.1%, creating a tactical chess match where pace, penalties, and zone control will define the contest. Recent form adds intrigue. Calgary's streaky last 5, punctuated by a 6-2 win over Buffalo and 2-0 win over San Jose, contrasts with Vancouver's offensive bursts and defensive collapses in its own last 5 games. In goal, Dustin Wolf for Calgary offers reactive athleticism with a 0.892 save percentage, while Vancouver's Thatcher Demko provides calm, technical control with a 0.903 save percentage and 2.80 GAA, creating a duel between reflexive saves and anticipation-based positioning. Analyzing tactics, Vancouver's top line will test Calgary's defensive structure immediately, particularly through Hughes' transition game. Calgary needs Coronado's finishing and Kadri's playmaking to generate offense while controlling the pace. Special teams loom large, with Vancouver's power play capable of swinging momentum and Calgary's penalty kill striving to neutralize it. X factors include Calgary's Coronado and Vancouver's Philip Ron and Evander Kane, whose physical presence can tilt emotional tone. Ultimately, Vancouver's top-end skill, depth scoring, and ability to control late-game situations give them the edge, making the Canucks the pick for the night, with a total over 5.5 a logical complement given the team's scoring capabilities. That's your full breakdown for tonight's NHL action. Who's cashing in, who's hitting the ice hot, and who's due for a shake-up? Drop your picks and predictions in the comments below. I want to see who you've got. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a game breakdown, picks, and all the action here on the channel.